Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and quite the spicy day of Super Week action once again. This was day 6 of the 7 days of the Super Week. Tomorrow is the final day, and then next Wednesday on the 3rd of March, the major begins. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday once again. A lot of Call of Duty to be enjoyed over the next few days, and a number of seeding implications from today's matches we are going to go through. But the main topic of course being this whole Cellium snaking debacle. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new, as always I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from Crew I thought was pretty entertaining, right? Given what we talked about yesterday, the whole Grim versus Clay stuff, it was pretty entertaining on the timeline. This from Remy Jitters here, and while Grim comes out and says, okay, fair play, this roast was pretty good. Grim has the COD IQ of a worm nowadays. Let us be real, taking the credit for all their wins and this type of stuff. So these were my predictions for the day. Finally a decent day of predictions, but it was far from easy. We're going to talk through some of these matches in a second here, especially this first one of the day, arguably the series of the year so far. Honestly, unbelievable stuff. We are just going to have to crack right on with it. So this game number 1, Paris Legion versus Atlanta FaZe, honestly unbelievable. Couldn't really believe what I was watching right here. Game 1, looks like FaZe are going to close this out, no problem at all here on Checkmate. They look like they've caught fire. In this series, they didn't really have anything to play for, FaZe, but certainly they wanted to keep the momentum, right? They want to show, okay, they can go 5-0 in their group, hopefully, you know, being the only team to do it. If, let's say, Dallas beat Los Angeles Thieves in tomorrow's game, they come up against a very resilient Paris Legion, right? And Paris had to win this, I do believe, to have a chance to get a top 3 in their group. They didn't end up doing it, but honestly, they really could have done it. It was incredible to see. Right at the end, you can see that Simp almost gets their, well, gets the final tick. Honestly, one of the craziest maps at hardpoint I've watched, like, ever, to be honest. Like, early on, FaZe go up big, Paris make a big comeback, then right to the end, FaZe gets stopped on P1 at 2:49, and, well, just about Paris closes out over towards this P2. As you can see there, Simp got a crazy spawn in the back. The reason why he got that spawn, I believe, is because the hill was still at P1 when he actually got that spawn. If the hill was at P2, then the spawn logic would have worked different, and that would have been blocked. That's supposedly what went on there. But incredible stuff. Paris win this 252-49. Then we go into a search and destroy, and, well, this one also looks like it's going in favour of the Paris Legion. Looks like they're going to go up 2-0. That would have been remarkable for them, right? What a team, right? Given that we talked at the start of the season, these guys maybe not looking the best, at least on paper. We thought, okay, this team probably somewhat underwhelming, but fair play to Paris. I mean, there's a lot of teams right now significantly worse than this squad, and, well, mixing it up with FaZe as they did is no mean feat by any means. You can see Scrubs clutching a nice little 1v2 right here. They go up 5-3 in this map, and then FaZe show the ice. They show the clutch factor, end up taking this one in a 6-5 fashion after bringing the comeback all the way back at the end. So round 11 ice from FaZe. They bring 3 rounds in a row to win in game 2, round 11 fashion, I suppose. Then we go into the control though, and as FaZe say right here, we saw this a fair bit last year where they would have a lot of game 5s, especially in the latter half of the season when they'd go to a series against a team they were expected to demolish. But, you know, they'd go down 0-2, they'd end up having to go to a game 5. Quite often we saw this whole stay tuned thing come up on screen, which was pretty entertaining to see at the time, but it doesn't have to get pulled out this time around. We actually end up getting, well, as I say right here, Paris looked so good in this series, remarkably. Yeah, imagine we get Paris, New York in the major grand final. It's not out of the question, but I don't believe it's going to happen, but who really knows at this point, right, with how good these teams are looking. So much competition in this league. Then we go into the control, and Aqua and Fire have a couple of great maps between those two. They go up 2-1 against FaZe. FaZe, though, bounce back in the hardpoint, and I mean, this was a crazy map, right? Simp had a really slow first hardpoint and a very slow first 3 maps of the series, all things considered regardless. But here on Raid hardpoint, he absolutely takes over the game. There's not many players that have this capability, to be honest, to bounce back from a couple of poor maps, to go 32-13 here on Raid hardpoint, close this one out 252-18. Even this was a pretty close cut affair. Then we go to game 5, also on Raid, a very close map, and well, Simp clutches this outrageous 1v3. This, to be honest, was more of a choke, to be honest, from, I suppose, the Paris Legion, but, you know, he gets this skill, then he picks Classic off a heady, and then, well, Fire comes in for the trade, and he's absolute one-shot, and Fire goes for the punch for some reason, and Simp manages to clutch it up at a 4 versus 3, or in a 1 versus 3, to take the 4 versus 3 advantage. I mean, honestly, what an incredible series, so many highlight moments like this. Paris completely threw this one away, to be honest, but it was one of the sweatiest series you're ever going to see, and then we go all the way to a round 10, and Cellium clutches a 1 versus 2 for the game. This is where some of the controversy starts to come into play, though. So as you can see, Cellium goes for this clutch right here, he takes down Classic. Then he has the 1 versus 1 against Aqua, and as you can see, he bobs up and down on this head glitch right here, and, well, ends up taking down Aqua, in the end getting the clutch. Now, a lot of people looked at this, and, well, some other things going on in the series as well, from Fire supposedly, as aBeZy's going to talk about in a couple of seconds here, but, well, certainly a lot of discussion about the whole snaking situation that we have seen so far this year, and also you can see in this map, right? So snaking, the idea is when you bob up and down behind a head glitch like this, as Cellium did, it makes you a very difficult target to see and also to hit, right? And if you're doing this consistently consistently, it's considered relatively bad manners to do this, and in some games where it's been a bit of a big deal to abuse, it's kind of been gentleman's agreemented effectively. But as of late, a lot of pros have kind of decided it's pretty difficult to GA. How do you really enforce if someone goes prone, then stands up and they're just reloading or whatever? But it certainly seems like it's getting to the point where the pros are very frustrated with the likes of Cellium doing this stuff on a regular basis. As aBeZy says, GG's to Paris 1-3-2, got to 5-0, but definitely need to work, and sloppy mistakes from us. Then this comes out as well. So, well, as Octane says, we went from crucifying people for snaking a couple of years ago to the entire league now being okay with it. Skill gap to get better than movement. We'll talk about this in more detail tomorrow. But as aBeZy says right here, love how MC, that being Cellium, gets crucified for snaking, quote unquote. But when people did it towards us the end of last year, it was all good and no one said anything. Also, there were other individuals that have done it religiously this year as well, but that gets completely brushed off. Some of the replies here, MC as the super culprit from Octane. Envoy even says as well he doesn't usually get involved with drama like this, but Envoy weighs in. He is part of the problem. Maybe if he would just chill, then we can worry about the others like Cellium. Yeah, he just continuously snakes all the time. Not fun to play against at all. Joey Nubsy, the coach at Seattle, says take the quotation marks off a snaking, like he's absolutely abusing it in the game right now. And well, Formal then comes up with the following. Whenever I get snaked in a scrim or something like that, or in a match, yeah, it sucks, and I remember who it was, but I never spawn back in and think I'm going to snake them so hard back. Maybe it is just because I'm not a weirdo, saying that any of the guys that are doing this, the likes of Cellium and others, are just weirdos in the game right now. And well, it's a difficult thing to enforce. Definitely a bit of spicy drama on the timeline though, right? We love to see stuff like this. We're going to have to see how these matchups go going forwards, because Cellium is, he's the whole you could do it to phase up type thing that happened last year. And as a result of that then, he likes to abuse these type of movements, right? He's done it for a couple of years now. And I suppose he thinks that, if I can do it, you can certainly do it as well and abuse it to the same degree. So I'm just going to do what I can within the limits that the game allows. But that's certainly maybe not considered the best manners by some of the professional players, the likes of Formal, Octane, Slasher, who have just been effectively calling him out right here. So definitely a bit of drama to keep your eyes on over the coming days as well. Azuma says though, the problem is if Cellium stops snaking, someone is going to snake him eventually and he's going to lose full and then up doing it again. So unless snaking gets nerfed, then it will just fix the game at the present time. But I'm sure there's more to discuss on this tomorrow. But pretty spicy stuff. Enjoy to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's go through the other couple of matches then that finish off the day. The first one was Rokkr versus Royal Ravens. Rokkr needed to win this to stay within a shout, I believe, of getting top 3 in their group, which of course is really important to get into the winners bracket for the major. They played against Ravens, who really had nothing to play for, right? They were already 0-4, but as I predicted probably a few days ago, they end up going 0-5 right here. The game number 1, pretty well-rounded effort, I suppose. They move up 250 to 157. Then we go into the search and destroy, and despite Alex having a nice little ace in the second round right here, Minnesota Rokkr, their search and destroy finally does come back into play and actually looks relatively good. They all run into Alex's line of sight right here for him to end up taking down the ace. And he literally just lays here and guns them all down. But they do end up bringing back the game. I mean, it's pretty incredible to see, to be honest. Clearly London has some talent on their squad, but they just can't piece it together, and just everything, it just doesn't go their way, man. It's tough to say. Obviously, they're facing good competition right now, but as you can see right here, they end up closing out this one 6-4 due to the Minnesota Rokkr. They go down 0-3. They bring it back. Alex goes 10-6, but to no avail. The rest of the guys once again having a pretty lackluster showing, all things considered. Then we go into the control. It was a close 4 affair, but Rokkr taking in a 3-2 fashion to take the series in a 3-0, right? And many questions ready to be had over these teams over the coming days. Accuracy has a great map 3 at a 35 in 22 performance right here, and as Parasite tweets this out after the fact, right, the only team to go 0-5 this stage. We'll look at the rankings and the standings right now just at the end of the video, but many questions to be asked is exactly where this team stacks up going forwards, what the situation for Parasite might be, what this team needs to do to fix itself, because as of right now, you could argue they're the worst team in the league, with other teams certainly looking more promising, you could say. Let's go on to the final series of the day then, that being Los Angeles Guerrillas versus Toronto Ultra. This was a must-win for the Guerrillas if they want to actually make a winner's bracket, which does seem pretty likely at the present time. So map number 1 though, Ultra do take it. CleanX goes absolutely off on Crossroads, 250-242. Guerrillas almost kind of threw it away, but then we go into the game 2, and this is pretty remarkable because Toronto destroyed Paris Legion yesterday on Moscow Search and Destroy, but this time Guerrillas just completely smoked them, right? Their Search and Destroy looking very good. I mean, honestly, the clutch factor from Ultra non-existent. About in the hard when it actually was existed, but in some of these Search and Destroy rounds, it just wasn't ideal by any means. We saw that especially when we actually did end up in the map 5. Then we go into the control, and honestly here on Raid, Assault had this crazy 4-piece you can see right here, but the defense was so solid for Los Angeles Guerrillas. They won the offenses when required. They honestly looked like a really, very much a well-oiled machine, which was impressive to see from the Guerrillas. And they certainly need to be so if they were going to beat a team like the Ultra. Then though, we go into the Garrison hardpoint game number 4. Method starts off 12-0, gets full streak. streaks, but then as soon as he gets full streaks and they go up by like 80 points, Gorillas then make a crazy comeback. They bring it all the way back to like a 60-point advantage for them, and then Ultra do exactly the same thing back to them and end up closing out the game 250 to 210 or something in that ballpark. And well, then we go to a game 5, as you can see here, 250 to 200. That doesn't really tell the story of the entire game. Does go to a game 5 though on Raid. Doesn't get any better in my opinion than a map 5 Raid Search and Destroy to split the difference, but it's Los Angeles Gorillas that take it. I mean, so many rounds here, so much clutch factor from Los Angeles Gorillas, but really a full collapse from Toronto Ultra. So Ultra lose the series. As Karma says, Ultra collapse completely. They brought this up on stream as well, and as Method says, I threw the control, got severely outplayed in the search. Every single one of our matches could have gone the other way, but certainly a team that I was expecting potentially to be one of the underdogs of the season, that is not the case. But well, things are incredibly hard to predict this time around. So these are the standings as they presently stand. Few more matches I'm sure we're going to go through tomorrow, and well, some very spicy ones indeed. We'll talk about that in the video tomorrow morning, exactly what those matches are and what the implications could be. But just to mention it very briefly indeed right here. So Paris Legion, as you can see right now, in the 3rd spot, but Los Angeles Gorillas hold the tiebreak over Legion, which means that if the Mutineers lose to OpTic as they play tomorrow, then we're going to have a situation, I believe, where Gorillas actually do get that 3rd spot. Then in Group A, we have 2 matches, that being New York versus Surge. If New York win that one, they will overhaul Minnesota Rokkr because they hold the tiebreak for the 3rd seed, and then the number 1 seed will be determined in the match between the Dallas Empire versus Los Angeles Thieves. So much stuff still to cover. Really intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.